They were wearing bulletproof armor and raised their guns, shouting loudly towards Su Xan's direction. Is that a living person? Please raise your hands. Chen Bai was surprised to see this. In front of them stood a weak girl and a man. The entire Special Forces team formed a defensive line, suspecting the two of them, and then notified, I will count to 321. If there's no response, we'll open fire. The Special Forces soldier raised his gun and seriously counted loudly, 3, 2, 1. However, Chen Bai didn't care. He picked up Su Xan and coldly said over his shoulder, we should leave now. Su Xan, being held like this by the boy for the first time, blushed, shyly looking at him. At that moment, the Special Forces had shouted the final count, 1, then yelled, move. The order was given, and the guns aimed at their targets, ready to fire at any moment. Immediately, many bullets were fired at Chen Bai, and now he quickly accelerated to run away. As someone familiar with the hospital's paths, Su Xan saw an exit and pointed to the left, saying, turn left ahead to the emergency exit. It leads to the balcony. Chen Bai quickly ran in the direction she indicated, with bullets constantly shooting at him, some of them hitting him. Seeing blood splatter from various wounds, Su Xan looked at Chen Bai worriedly and said, you've been shot. Chen Bai remained calm. Eyes focused ahead, and said in a calm tone, I know, don't speak, don't move. Then he quickly charged into the rain of bullets. 10 minutes later, on the rooftop of the hospital building in a small room, Chen Bai forcefully held the beautiful girl, kicked the door open, and rushed out, kicking the door off its hinges. Then he stopped, looked at Su Xan gently, and asked, where do you live? Su Xan, being held in his arms, shyly replied, East Wind Road, North 4th Street, south of the district. Chen Bai gazed at the girl with affectionate eyes, smiling gently, and said to Xiao Shuai, okay, but hadn't yet ovulated. Chen Bai jumped with a burst of strength, causing Su Xan to sway unsteadily, her eyes wide in surprise. He had jumped from the highest floor of the hospital while holding her, and Chen Bai's explosive power was top tier. Confident in his zombie power, he carried the beauty from one building to another. Su Xan, frightened, could only hold on to Chen Bai tightly. Finally, they arrived at Rongfeng Community in South Bai, North 4th Street. Su Xan hurriedly opened the door. Her clothes were torn and dirty, but she still enthusiastically pointed in the direction and said to Chen Bai, the bathroom is over there, I'll help you treat your wound. Chen Bai's clothes on his abdomen were torn, revealing his blurry 8-pack abs. He calmly responded, the bullet isn't in the wound, it'll heal quickly, it's fine. Despite this, Su Xan was still concerned. As a nurse, she approached and said, no, I have to check. Chen Bai reluctantly agreed and took off his coat, frowning slightly due to the wound, and said, all right. In Su Xan's kitchen, the clothes Chen Bai took off were casually thrown on the floor. Chen Bai removed his coat, revealing a perfect physique that completely met female aesthetic standards. Su Xan was quite interested. But she forced herself to stay composed and pointed to Chen Bai's hand, saying, look, there are still marks here. Strangely, Chen Bai's body was smooth and flawless. Su Xan's eyes sparkled as her cheeks flushed red, saying, the abdomen and chest are the same, not fully healed yet. She couldn't resist reaching out to check. Chen Bai, showing off his smooth muscles, tempted, if I devour you, I'll recover immediately. He then lowered his voice, his gaze seductive, half seriously, half jokingly saying, so, what do you think? Want to offer yourself? Su Xan blushed deeply, gently wrapping her arms around his waist and saying naturally, you wouldn't eat me, if you wanted to, you would have already. This was too much. The male protagonist immediately approached Su Xan, winking mischievously, and said, then you're wrong, I didn't eat you before, only because the environment wasn't right. Su Xan's face turned crimson, her whole body stiff, unable to speak. Seeing she didn't resist, Chen Bai boldly pulled her waist and pressed her tightly against his firm 8-pack abs. He tore off her nurse uniform and said, "The environment's good now, quite suitable." Su Xan was too embarrassed to know what to do, but when she saw Chen Bai's 8-pack abs, she couldn't speak. He then said, "So, what do you think? Are you willing to let me devour you so I can recover?" Although her heart was filled with joy, Su Xian still tried to stay calm. She looked away shyly and said, "Clean up a bit, it'll taste better." Chen Bai gently placed a kiss on her soft lips, making Su Xian's heart race. He spoke softly, "All right." Soon, in the bathroom, a passionate kiss took place. Though it was their first meeting, Chen Bai's masculinity and heroism completely conquered Su Xian, making her willing to surrender herself to him. She didn't care about the gazes others had thrown her way. Then, sounds of letters being spelled out were heard in the bathroom, indicating that Su Xian was taking an English class. The phone on the table rang with a notification sound. It was a new message. From an account named Jiao Mu, "Where are you? Campus Beauty Songgu is looking for you." Below, there was another message from Songgu, "Are you dead?" His roommate and he had already arrived at the first hospital in Jiangcheng. Before the trial descended upon Jiangcheng, many strange events occurred. The hospital was locked down, explosions occurred in the suburbs. A monster slaughterhouse. I'm not sure about the third event. There wasn't much information on the trial's arrival, and no one took it seriously, usually only mentioning it in casual conversations. Thinking about this, Chen Bai sighed and said, "Really gives me a headache." He was on the road buying breakfast. He hurriedly answered Su Xian's call and said, "Su Xian, I've bought the breakfast, I'll be back soon." Su Xian's voice sounded very anxious on the phone. "Chen Bai, 2 people came looking for you, saying that Song Ziqiang invited you to meet her." Chen Bai was surprised and asked, "Oh, Song Ziqiang?" Su Xian looked through the window of the apartment door and saw 2 men in black suits with black sunglasses, looking very dangerous. She worriedly said to Chen Bai, "I don't think they're good people." Saying Song Ziqiang is looking for you is definitely a lie. Song Ziqiang is the queen of Jiangcheng. Su Xian was very confused right now. She held the phone close to her face and anxiously asked Chen Bai, "What should I do now?" Chen Bai quickly gave her a solution, "They're not lying, just let them wait outside the door." Su Xian stammered, Oh, okay. Looking at the missed calls and a bunch of messages from someone named Song Ka on his phone, Chen Bai suddenly realized and thought, Song Ziqiang is Song Ka's mother, that classmate who has been pestering me. Standing on the sidewalk, Chen Bai put his hands in his pockets, thinking, it seems the young lady has found her mother. Interesting, if Song Ziqiang can find out from Su Xian's side, she should know something. Chen Bai's expression turned even colder, with a hint of danger in his eyes. He said, "Looks like I have to meet her." The scene shifted to a frozen warehouse in the suburbs. This area was owned by Song Ziqiang, who went from nothing to become the wealthiest person in Jiangcheng. She is the highest existence in both the black and white sides, and after the trial, she awakened her A-level talent and quickly built her own power. At this moment, Chen Bai stepped out of a luxury car, carefully escorted by 2 bodyguards, their eyes full of vigilance. To continue, the woman Song Ziqiang even unified Jiangcheng in the 3-party struggle. As the true queen of Jiangcheng, she was someone I could only look up to in my past life. Facing this capable woman, Chen Bai admired her, but also felt somewhat cautious. However, for the current Chen Bai, he was full of confidence in his already awakened talent. He smiled slightly, looking at Song Ziqiang with interest. Thinking, but now it's different. If I can conquer her and use her, I can do more before the trial arrives. Just then, a pair of feet in red high heels appeared in front of him, intentionally tapping the ground with the heels to attract attention. Chen Bai was standing in the corridor of the frozen warehouse in the suburbs. As soon as the woman in red shoes and red clothes appeared, the bodyguards immediately bent down and bowed, saluting at a 90-degree angle, and reported, "President Song, Chen Bai has arrived." The woman wearing a beautiful red cloak was the previously mentioned Song Ziqiang. She was the queen of Jiangcheng. With a slim figure and a domineering style of dress, the queen slowly walked towards Chen Bai and said to him, "Student Chen, sorry to make you come here, but I really have some things to take care of." Behind Song Ziqiang was a girl in a suit with green hair, looking very cool. This girl silently observed everything around her. After hearing this, Chen Bai's expression remained calm, and he asked, "What can I do for you?" Song Ziqiang suddenly walked up to the male lead, lightly tugged at his collar, and softly said, "I'm looking for you because Xiao Kai went home saying you went missing at Jiangcheng Hospital, and asked me to help." This surprised Chen Bai. Then, the woman tried to get closer to Chen Bai, shaking her voluminous hair as she continued, "I asked you here to see the boy who made Xiao Kai so worried, and see how much willpower he really has." Chen Bai was very straightforward, staring coldly at Song Ziqiang, and directly asked, "I don't like beating around the bush, Miss Song, what is your true intention?" Although not young, Song Ziqiang was still very beautiful. She turned around and directly answered, very straightforward, "Well then, I won't beat around the bush either." Song Ziqiang stomped her foot firmly, then spread her arms wide and invited Chen Bai, "How about becoming mine? If you like Xiao Kai too, becoming my son-in-law wouldn't be impossible." This matchmaker was inviting a son-in-law, but Chen Bai seemed uninterested. Just as Song Ziqiang turned around, Chen Bai immediately expressed his doubts. "I don't see any reason to pull me into this." At this point, Song Ziqiang turned around and answered seriously, "Seeing your brave performance at the hospital, anyone would admire you, wouldn't they?" Upon hearing this, Chen Bai realized what he had done at the hospital. Yesterday, Chen Bai thought as if electrocuted, the hospital? I didn't expect that what I did would be known by so many people. Chen Bai asked again, "I remember the hospital's cameras and power were all destroyed by me. How did anyone find me and locate me so quickly?" In the blink of an eye, Chen Bai followed Song Ziqiang to her luxurious apartment. As she pressed the elevator button, Song Ziqiang said while walking, "Don't underestimate Song E. At least, from the time you walked from the lobby to the camera, my people were still able to recover it." Standing in front of the elevator, Song Ziqiang took out her phone to show Chen Bai and said, "More importantly, at the hospital, I had my people there." She also filmed this. On the phone screen, a message from the green-haired girl Suong Ni appeared. She had followed Song Ziqiang. In the message, Suong Ni informed her that she was at the hospital and saw Chen Bai fighting with zombie monsters yesterday. Song Ziqiang could hardly believe this. Until Shui and I sent a video recording of Chen Bai fighting with the monster, our male lead is now being targeted by the rich woman, Song Ziqiang. Song Ziqiang handed her phone to Shui and I and gracefully and arrogantly continued, "Aunt Song has always had good luck among the survivors. Selected from the quarantine zone, I actually found a friend of Su Xian's, and they still maintain a very close relationship." When Lu Feng's name was mentioned, Chen Bai was also stunned. He didn't expect this woman not only knew him but also knew about Su Xian and their relationship. Flashback to the night before, at Su Xian's house, after Chen Bai and Su Xian's nurse finished pushing the cart, they lay down on the soft bed to rest. Chen Bai leaned his head on his arm and turned to her, saying, "Back then, in the bathroom, there was someone called Lu Fengxia. He not only planned to force you but also wanted to push you next to the corpse, right?" Su Xian, exhausted, lay on his shoulder and softly responded, "Yes, after he pushed me next to the corpse, he planned to escape through the window, but he was hit by the corpse, his head slammed into the glass, and he couldn't move." At that moment, Chen Bai recalled the scene and said, "So that's what was hanging on the wall." I thought it was a dead person. At this moment, both Su Xian and he thought Lu Feng was already dead. She leaned on Chen Bai's strong arm and said, I hope he's dead. I will hate him for the rest of my life. With that, the matter was temporarily set aside, and Chen Bai gently responded, MHM. Su Xian, who looked delicate and fragile, was actually very capable. After pushing the cart just now, she turned around and asked to continue pushing it. She tidied her hair, her cheeks flushed, and shyly whispered, I feel much better, let's keep going, Chen Bai. Chen Bai felt a bit embarrassed upon hearing this, but he teasingly winked and mocked Su Xian, forget it, I didn't expect this to be your first experience. Who was screaming so miserably just now? Su Xian was at a loss for words and quickly apologized, it's fine, we still have time. After saying these words, Su Xian eagerly climbed onto Chen Bai's body, doing something indescribable. Chen Bai blushed, not knowing what to do, but his heart was full of joy. Su Xian said, no, today I must make my savior satisfied. Chen Bai could understand Su Xian, after all, she hadn't had proper love for a long time. Back to the present, in the cold storage in the suburbs, the elevator trapped people in the hallway. From outside the elevator, Chen Bai and Song Ziqiang could be heard talking, Aunt Song, can you tell me where the survivors are? Song Ziqiang replied, if you work for me, I'll tell you. What do you think? The two walked out of the elevator. Chen Bai, with a vigilant expression, said, Aunt Song really underestimated me. Song Ziqiang glanced at him beautifully and responded, that's right, with just this information, it can't change your abilities. But I can still. Chen Bai took the initiative to step forward, staring at the wall while pondering and said, no, Aunt, you're mistaken. I mean you don't know much about me. If you knew more, you'd understand. Pausing for a moment, Chen Bai smiled faintly, emphasizing the last sentence, I cannot be your man. Then, without hiding, Chen Bai used his magical virus power to grow sharp claws on his hands. Confidently, he said, obviously, you should be my woman. Seeing the strange scene in front of her, Song Ziqiang was surprised. She blurted out, is this the corpse mutation virus? Immediately, Bone, her loyal bodyguard, rushed over to protect Song Ziqiang. Afterward, Chen Bai waved the magical purple airflow in his hand, condensed it into a large block, and pressed it down hard with a loud sound, saying, wrong. Then, Chen Bai used his own power, continuously changing the strength, displaying a powerful aura. He stared at Song Ziqiang and mimicked her earlier words, work for me, and I'll tell you these things. What do you think? As a wealthy, beautiful, and older woman, Song Ziqiang stood before a boy around her age, still responding arrogantly but slightly dissatisfied, you really underestimate me, Chen Bai, with just these claws you can't conquer me. She then mentioned Su Xian again. Moreover, you already have a young and beautiful nurse. Why are you still interested in a woman like me, who's older? Our male lead is indeed a master, and soon he easily approached Song Ziqiang. He gently stroked her chin and comforted her softly, such a beautiful woman, who wouldn't be moved. Everything has its pros and cons. At least before the apocalypse arrives, you can help me more than Su Xian. Though Song Ziqiang was older, she still felt a little excited upon hearing these sweet words, and her cheeks flushed slightly, like a 20-year-old girl. Hearing the mention of the apocalypse, she asked, has the apocalypse come? Is it these corpse-mutated monsters? Chen Bai had just shown his disdain for the newly mutated corpses. He spoke with a masculine tone, saying, corpse mutants? These are just trash. At this point, Song Ziqiang looked at Chen Bai, her eyes full of danger, responding with doubt, trash? Seems like you know quite a lot. Chen Bai answered, more than you think. Song Ziqiang stretched out her soft palm and firmly said, in front of Chen Bai, neither of us is someone who can be easily subdued. Let's cooperate, exchange your information for my help. At this point, Chen Bai immediately shook hands in agreement and said, "Okay. It seems the Queen of Jiangcheng is no simple character."